comedian David Boyle, and I'm quitting alcohol. So after watching The Sandlot Kids the other night, I was reminded of a dude I grew up with. Because in The Sandlots, you got Benny the Jet Rodriguez, who's like the legendary kid around town. And I think every town has them, every fucking country has them. Everywhere, every neighborhood in the entire world, there's the legendary kid that's just better. Just better than everyone for some reason. And when I was growing up, this is in Cheltenham, that kid was Ben Furzer. So after watching The Sandlot Kids, I looked up Ben Furzer on the internet because I was like, surely there's something about this dude on the internet, because this guy was just absolutely fucking incredible. So where I went to primary school, there was like 5 or 6 primary schools in the little district. There was Cheltenham Heights, there was Cheltenham East, there was LePage where I went to, Kingston Heath, I think it's called. There was Cheltenham North, but they got merged with us. Maybe 4. So there was 4. And every single person in every single one of those schools knew who Ben Furzer was. So I first ran into Ben Furzer when I was like 8 years old. I got thrown into playing football, AFL football. Before I could even kick, I started playing football. I would have been like 7, and I think Furzer was 8 or 9. I think he was only a year above me, but he seemed like he was an adult. He seemed like he was many years ahead. So when I started playing football, the first year I played football, we won the grand final. And basically, Ben Furzer won the grand final by himself. And I think he won like the next 4 by himself. He was like the best football player in the league growing up. No one was even fucking close. He was like so far and away the best football player. It just wasn't a competition. He ended up being the state captain. He was just the golden child. I remember it was like my 3rd or 4th game, and they were hiding me in the back line because we were the best team because we had Furzer. So the ball was in the forward line all the time. So they're like, all right, go to the back line. The ball never came down there. But one time, it accidentally came down there and I was shitting myself. I was like, don't come near me, ball. Fuck that. But luckily, Superman fucking saved the day. Ben Furzer came charging down, leapt over like 2 guys, and fucking took it running backwards as like a 9-year-old, and then booted it like 40 meters the other way. And I was just standing there going, Jesus Christ, who the fuck is this kid? And it wasn't just football either. It was everything. Everything he fucking touched turned to gold. He was just magic. And everyone knew who he was. Everyone in that area would have known who Ben Furzer was. I don't think there's many people that are my age that grew up in that area that wouldn't know who fucking Ben Furzer was. He was also fucking stunningly good looking as well. So he had everything. Like literally. I remember we were playing baseball. This is towards the end of my baseball career. And one of the guys brought Ben Furzer down to have a game of baseball. And Furzer had never played baseball before. And everyone was like, oh my God, Furzer's coming down to play baseball. Furzer, it's Furzer. And about an hour into the game, we'd all heard that Furzer never played baseball. But an hour into the game, we heard that he had already hit 4 home runs. So we were all fucking hurried up to finish our games to watch their game. And I think Furzer ended up with either fucking 6 or 7 home runs. Pretty much every time he went to bat, he hit a home run in his first game of baseball. This is what I'm talking about here. He won that. I remember I had a mate, Jason Vesti, and they were doing cross-country running, and Vesti was leading down the home straight. This is what kind of guy Vesti is, though. And plus, you've got to give a little bit of a handicap to Vesti because he also was like 2 years older because he'd been kept down twice. So he was a little bit older than everyone. So Vesti is running down the home straight. He was leading. Furzer was coming second, but Furzer was like right on his tail. Then for some reason, Vesti ran off path, hit a witch's hat, fell over, and Ben Furzer won. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen. It made no sense. It only made sense if you knew who Jason Vesti was. Anyway, I fucking idolized him. Everyone idolized him. He was just a hero amongst us kids. Like someone that just couldn't do anything wrong. Like I used to tell people I used to play footy with Furzer. I was hidden down the back line. That's where I was playing. But the girls loved him. Everyone loved him. Parents loved him. It was like crazy. You were like, this guy is going to be like internationally famous somehow. I've never seen anyone quite like him ever again. He was just like a one-of-a-kind fucking dude. And then I left and I moved to Dramana and I started hearing rumors that he'd stopped playing footy, he'd stopped doing all this sort of shit and started hanging out with like dodgier sort of characters. And the rumor at the time was he had started taking heroin, which fucking boggled my mind. I was like, no way. There's no way. This cunt was like on the trajectory to do anything he wanted. The world was his. He could have just done absolutely fucking anything. He was like just gifted at everything. He was just like a hero. He was a ready-made hero. He was a hero to everyone. And when I heard that, I was like, surely it can't be true. It can't be, can it? And then when would it have been? It was one of the New Year's. I think it was 2001, maybe. We were at a New Year's Eve party in Portsea. Everyone goes down to Portsea from the peninsula, like Dramana and Rosebud. Everyone along the Mornington Peninsula goes to Portsea and it's just chaos down there. It used to be like real chaos. Like fucking gangs from Melbourne coming up, machetes and all sorts of crazy shit. But this year I was meeting up with a few dudes from Cheltenham as well. And this dude, Wade, I was messaging him and we were finding a place to meet. Anyway, I get there and I see Wade and I say g'day to Wade. And Wade goes, hey Boyle, this is my mate Ben. I don't know if you've met him, Ben Boyle. And Ben goes, yeah, I know him. And I didn't know who this Ben guy was, so I shook his hand. And I fucking looked at him and I took a double take and I'm like, oh, Furzer. Yeah, I know fucking Furzer. This is Ben Furzer. And it was not the Ben Furzer I was expecting. He was like a bit emaciated. He was a lot smaller than me. He just looked different. I didn't recognize him. It took me a take or two and I was like, holy fuck, what happened? And we were like hung out a little bit, but he was real quiet and I was doing some other stuff. And that was the last time I ever saw Furzer. I was never friends with him or anything like that. He was just more like an idol. He was just someone that I loved. Like I did. Everyone did. He was just a one-of-a-kind fucking dude when we were younger. And then a while later, I heard through a friend that Furzer had been in a car accident. What this friend told me was he was going through a roundabout a little too fast, or he was speeding through a roundabout and lost control and the car ended up bursting into flames and he passed away. And that's what I tried to look up when I went to the internet. I wanted to see what happened in the car crash and I couldn't find anything. There was no details about this kid who was just like one of the greatest. There was one article in the newspaper about Brighton Grammar wearing the number 17, which just so happens to be my fucking favourite number, 17 October birthday. But that was his footy jumper number. And Brighton Grammar still wear the number 17 as their training jersey out of reverence to Ben Furzer. So when I only saw that one article, I was like, I really would like people to know how fucking amazing that dude was. He was just the idol and hero to hundreds of us. Everyone in that area and further. So hopefully now, if people type in Ben Furzer, this podcast will come up and people will remember. Anyway, that'll do for today, and I'll see you the fuck later.